folks, and welcome to a Twixmas helping of Mr H's Hot Pot. You join me today here in Mrs H's Jalopy. I've got Lucy in the back there. We've just been for a bit of a walk round, me and her, up in Wrightington, which is of course Lancashire. We've been through the fields and we've just had a bit of me and her time. I've left Rosie at home with Mrs H, and the in-laws are around cooing over little Toby James. Now the reason I've only brought Lucy out is because she's been feeling a little bit left out recently, bless her. You know, with the arrival of my son, she sort of felt as though she's gone down in the pecking order. So to cheer her up a little bit, and so she doesn't end up resenting my son arriving and joining the family, I've taken her out and we've spent a bit of time. I've just nipped out to the supermarket before I've decided to make this video, and I've got us a nice piece of salmon and some steak, so Mrs H can make the choice of what she wants for tea, and Mr H will whip it up when he gets home. Now the reason I'm making this video is to thank everyone out there who's passed on the congratulations and the well wishes on the arrival of my son. Big thank you to everyone who's taken the time and trouble to do that. There's that many of you. I think there's about 60 comments on that particular video, the last one that I made, that I can't name you all individually, but I will try and get back and respond to each and every one of you. But as I'm sure you'll all appreciate, I now have my hands full. Especially a big thanks is going out to one fella up there in Middlesbrough who showed a bit of concern for my well-being in the fortnight where I haven't been on the internet. He was a little bit worried, and he'd been asking around various forums and that I'm a member of, and he'd just been asking how I'd been going on. I think he'd tried emailing me as well, and obviously because I haven't been on the internet, I didn't reply to him. So a big thank you to you there, sir, both from myself and Mrs H. You know, it's nice to know that there are people out there who are interested in your well-being. Now, the reason I've not been online is because, obviously, the birth of my son. But due to a few minor complications when he was born, and as I said, they were minor, it's nothing major, he had to have a little bit of aftercare, and he had to have a short stay in hospital because he was born via emergency caesarean. And I'm not going to bore you with the details too much, but needless to say, it meant quite a bit of running about for me. Because Mrs H, parents had decided to go on a cruise. They booked a cruise, I think, about a year ago, long before we even knew that, you know, we was pregnant with Toby James. And we said, once we found out as she was pregnant, you watch him come, or her, because we didn't know where it was at that point, watch him come on the day that, you know, your mum and dad go away. And sure enough, we tempted fate, and that's exactly what happened. So I had to run up to their house and make sure that everything was okay there, and deal with the cat. And cat's getting on a little bit, so, you know, you have to spend a bit of time with the cat and, you know, feed it, and that. You can't just go in and chuck some whiskers down and walk out. You know, so I was running about with that. I was seeing to my own dogs, and I was going up the hospital, so I had that for a week. And you've got to stay cheery. Sorry about that camera judder there, Hot Potters. But you have to stay cheery as well, because you don't want Mrs H laying there, because she was worried about me, thinking, how are you going to cope, because I was on my own with it. You know, my own father's 80, so he wasn't really much help other than moral support, but you get through it. You get through it. Now, it doesn't stop there, because once I brought them home, the week after, then the health visits start. You know, and that's when you end up with the health visitors and the midwives. And we even ended up with 2 of them coming at the same time, you know, because they was trying to fit their appointments in with Christmas coming up so that we didn't get left out or felt left out. The main reason they want to come round is to make sure that you're looking after the child, which is only right when all's said and done. You know, there's plenty of people out there who abuse the children. I don't know why you could do that. I certainly couldn't have an hair on Toby's head, but, you know, there are people out there who do that, so it's only right that, really, they should try and keep an eye on it. And also, it's nice having that support there for first-time parents like me and Mrs H, so, you know, there's just something that have to be done. So, what I did, Hot Potters, for a fortnight, I just simply had to man up. You know, there's no easy way of putting it. I know some people out there don't like that term, but that's what you've got to do, you know. I watched Mrs H when she was in there, and we went to, at first they was trying to get her to give birth naturally. So we went into one of the birthing suites, and I watched Mrs H go through it, bless her, with the contractions. You know, as a bloke, there's no way, I don't care what man you are out there and what your pain threshold is, you couldn't go through it. I know I couldn't. So, you know, I salute Mrs H for what she went through, and that's why I thought, well, you know, me doing a little bit of running about and having to cook the odd meal is nothing compared to what you went through, love. So, like I said, if I had to go through it all again for her, I would. So that's been it, really, Hot Potters. Now we're at the 3rd week. You know, things are sort of calming down a little bit, and we're finding our feet again, and things are slackening off a little bit. You know, we've gone into a bit of a routine with Toby James, as best as you can with him at that age, you know. Obviously, he's waking up in the night wanting a feed, and no doubt we've got the old teething to go through, but, you know, we're getting into a routine with him as best we can, and you've just got to run with it. You've just got to run with it. But it's an amazing thing, Hot Potters, I can tell you. Anybody out there who's not gone through it and has not been there, I mean, back in the bad old days, you know, fathers just sort of went into a waiting room, didn't they? Or they waited in a corridor somewhere, you know, wearing a trench into the bloody carpet, walking up and down and smoking endless cigarettes. It's not like that anymore. You know, you're encouraged to be there for the birth. And anybody out there who fears fainting or anything like that, you know, because that was a fear with me, especially when she had to go through a cesarean. I was sat there outside the theatre, and all sorts of thoughts were running through my head, Hot Potters. I don't mind telling you. You know, I had this paper gown on, and this little paper hat. And you feel a right plonk at start off with, dressed like that, you know. You got a pair of Crocs on. But my main fear was when I walked through them doors there, them theatre doors, what am I going to say? You know, am I going to see my missus opened up, you know, type of thing. But as luck would have it, they didn't take me through that way. They nearly did. They nearly made the mistake, one of the theatre staff, but the doctors quickly said, no, take him round the other way. So as I went through, all I could see was Mrs H laid there, you know, and she was chatting away to me, seemed quite happy, and I thought, well, if I concentrate on you, love, and, you know, just keep concentrate on you and not what's going on just over just a few centimetres, you know, on the other side of you, I'll get through it, because I was just thinking I don't want to faint, you know, I don't want to let her down that way. And luckily I didn't. The next thing I knew, you know, they pulled little Toby James up, you know, excuse me, he was in a little ball, and I could see Luke on his face. There was that moment where he suddenly realised, you know, where am I? You know, what's these bright lights? What's all this noise? Who are all these people? You could see it all run through his little head at that point, and it was like I say, it was an amazing thing. The only thing I couldn't bring myself to do, because obviously they cut the cord, and you know, there's still a little bit left attached to your child, and they took him over for weigh him, and they invited me over for cut that little bit of cord off, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was that emotional. I'd had that much roller coaster, because prior to that, prior to all this cesarean business, I was in the birthing suite with Mrs H. She took some pain relief, and she'd settled down, and we'd been told this could go into the early hours of the morning. So Mrs H said, best thing you can do, Roy, is get yourself off home, go and see to dogs, go and feed cats up at my mum and dad's, and then come back, you know, and have something to eat. And even Midwife said, yeah, you know, she'll get some sleep if you're not here. So I thought, right, well, that's what I'll do if this is going into early hours of morning. Excuse me again. When I gets home, I thought, well, I'll have a bite to eat and I'll have a shave, because I've been up since 6:30 and I hadn't had time to do anything. You know, when Mrs H said we need to get up to hospital, straight in car and straight up to hospital, you know, you haven't time to mess about. So I thought, I'll have a shave. I just managed to have something to eat, and then I got the phone call. I'm there with my face looking like Father Christmas, and can you get back up? You know, they're going to take me down to theatre. So I thought, oh, bloody hell. So quickly wiped all lather off. Luckily I wasn't halfway through each shave. Got in my car, the old jalopy, and pushed it as hard as I could without speeding too badly to get up to hospital. And I ended up seeing a red bloody warning light come up on my dash, telling me there was something wrong. It was my brake fluid, and that's my clutch fluid as well. So I thought, well, what do I do here? I can't go back and start messing about with this. I'll just have to push it, and if car ends up a wreck when I get onto car park, so be it. You know, I don't want to be missing this. So I'm getting texts from Mrs H saying, they're taking me down, where are you? Well, I'm just on car park, love. And signals ropey in hospitals at best of times. I'm stuck outside at the ward she was on, because you need a keypad thing for get in, and they weren't answering because they were dealing with Mrs H, and I'm stuck outside trying to bang on the door, and Anyway, they let me in, and next thing I did, I found myself outside this theatre, like I said, with all sorts of thoughts running through my head. But luckily, we got through it, and I got there in time. And like I said, it's an amazing thing to see the birth of your child. You know, I can really recommend it for any prospective fathers. You know, don't put your own thing at one side about worrying about fainting or whatever. You know, just concentrate on your wife or your girlfriend, whatever, your partner, and just hold it together and hold it together for them. And like I said, you'll not live to regret it. It was an amazing thing to say as I was actually there, you know. And it puts everything into perspective as well, becoming a father, Hot Potters, you know. There's all little arguments and little things and, you know, little tittle-tattle things that don't matter in life. And I'll admit, I've been guilty of it in the past, you know. I've had internet feuds with people, you know. Some people have tried resurrecting that recently, but I just leave them to it now. I really couldn't give a toss about it. It doesn't matter anymore. You know, once you realise what's important in life, which is, you know, your child and your family, nothing comes close. Right then, Hot Potters, I'm going to get off. I'm going to head back home now. Hopefully the in-laws will have vacated, and I can get on with making this salmon or this juicy steak, whatever Mrs H wants. You know, I'll let her make the choice tonight, although I'm rooting for salmon. I like salmon, but she doesn't. But there you go. So, folks, a big thank you once again to everybody who's passed on your congratulations. I will be back with you in 2019, where I'll be doing different videos to car videos. You know, I'm not really keen on doing these type of videos. I like being out and about, you know, on Shank's pony, going taking a look at something. And hopefully we'll be able to do that soon. Very soon, with little Toby James in tow. Once we can get him out and about in the pram, and we can go and look at things. So, until the next time, I probably will be making a few more baby-related videos just before then, 2019. Like I said, I'll try and have a little chat with you about feeding, because that's an interesting one, you know, regarding breastfeeding, and a lot of myths surrounding that. But I'll save that for another video. So, until the next time, Hot Potters, from myself and from little Lucy, who's snoring in the back there, it is bye-bye for now.